The masks we wear.
That's correct, Wendy. We all wear masks, metaphorically speaking. Yeah, right.
Spoken! It's party time! P-A-R-T. Why? Because I gotta! Hold on, sugar! Daddy's got a sweet tooth tonight! Ha ha ha! Ooh, somebody stop me!
Uh-oh. Can't be seen if you don't have the green. I gotta make a little stop.
How do you?
Are you on the list?
Nope, I believe my friends are. Perhaps you know them. Franklin, Grant, and Jackson. Okay, we have $5. There you go, son. Now get out of here. You're bothering. Ooh, that's gotta hurt. Sorry, fella. Waste not, want not. Ha ha ha.
Spoken! Alrighty then, my roll chums, it is I, Daniel. You may call me the pop culture dude, and this is gonna be an unboxing video of my favorite Jim Carrey movie of all time, The Mask. And if you're wondering why am I celebrating for this video, because today is the 27th anniversary ever since this underrated comic book classic movie, which is based on a Dark Horse Comics, featuring Jim Carrey as Stanley Ipkiss and The Mask. And technically, since this movie holds a very special place in my heart that grows 3 sizes this day, is the fact that this movie makes me fall in love in everything in filmmaking, acting, because this movie has everything. It has a great leading actor, has a really hot babe breakout role by Cameron Diaz before you know her in the Shrek movies, and the fact that the movie has a nice blend of comedy, action, even some Looney Tunes Easter eggs, and even The Mask himself reminds me of a Looney Tunes. Heck, he even made a cameo in Space Jam: A New Legacy, though that made me satisfied. And I feel like I want to celebrate the release of this movie that made me become a huge Jim Carrey fan, but at the exact same time by saying like, this is my career, I want to have a career go. And ever since Jim Carrey became my main inspiration, thank you very much, and I even got his autograph twice from me dancing as Dr. Robotnik, where he acknowledged it on Twitter, and he has been acknowledging some other fans like from their impressions and art too, so I'm proud that he's doing that. Even I got his own novel, Memoirs of Information. You can see his signature is right here because he is an absolute legend. And luckily, this was one of those movies that I wish deeply that I wish it had a sequel, and it did, and it's called Son of the Mask, one of the most worst movies ever made. Even the YouTuber who eventually starred into that movie, he made videos about it, and it really broke me in a way, but it's more like, well, I truly wish that this will be one of those movies that gets a sequel, but I understand that Jim Carrey's not into sequels, except Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is his current next one. But at the exact same time, he says he's open to do a sequel to The Mask under one condition: a crazy visionary filmmaker. And I'm no filmmaker, but I do have a crazy vision, since I do have a fan fiction script for what I want for The Mask 2, but it's only just an idea that I just wish to have in the future, but I don't know, eventually see. But for right now, let's get into the board game, which is 1994, but also a 3D board game. So, just sit back and enjoy the ride. See ya!
Did you miss me? I guess not! Let's rock this joy! Ha ha ha! Step right up here! Don't be shy! Nobody likes a bashful leatherhead! Move it!
Alrighty then we got our full first look of the entire 3D pop-up board game, and you can definitely see from the cover, it's definitely a 1994 3D board game that is by the Parker brothers, who happens to make a 3D board game of Batman Forever that also features Jim Carrey.
Can't be seen if you don't have the green.
There's even a box art where it features like multiple kids that actually show like mostly how would the board game will be displayed, and I like the tagline it shows. Who trashed the apartment? Who robbed the bank? Was it Stanley Ipkiss or was it The Mask? Help! And then technically it just shows most of these cutouts and these coins, which I will get in review, because since this is like a 3D pop-up game, it definitely takes a lot, and I repeat, a lot of time just to remove every single cutout from the tokens to the buildings, where it's not your typical Sonic Monopoly game or your board game or anything in general, because you have to literally like put the pieces and try your best to connect them but not break them, because this is very rare. Because I find this on eBay, and I will give a shout out to this YouTuber, which is Mike Mozart of the Toy Channel. I bet you guys heard of him before. He was the one that got me the idea when I was a kid. When I saw this board game, it's more like, I want to have this board game when I was a kid. And now technically, after like a couple years later when I got older, here we go. We got ourselves the Mask board game. And as we decided to go down, because it's definitely a recreation of the Edge City, we see the Coco Bongo. For those who have seen the original film, that's where Stanley Ipkiss decided to go inside to date Tina Carwile, because she is a koi. I love it! And basically what I like about it, we have these different type of apartments, which is basically Stanley's apartment, but also Mrs. Peaman's apartment, because obviously she's in charge of the whole entire apartment community. And I like that it shows like every single Easter egg of the ticking clock that he smashes in the movie, the money that he steals, and his dog Milo, who is one of the highlights of the movie, and inspired me where I got myself my very first own dog.
You were good, kid, real good. But as long as I'm around, you'll always be second best, see?
And even the board game itself got every single menu of how to build all the instructions. So yeah, it's not easy, where you literally have to poke these holes and eventually connect the building of Edge City Bank, the apartment buildings, even Coco Bongo, including the skyscraper itself. And it gets to show you like all the instructions, like, so how do you play this game? So basically, out of all the 4 Jim Carrey clones, or his character in the film, Stanley Ipkiss, basically these tokens are supposed to be coins. And technically, which color you choose of Jim Carrey's character, Stanley Ipkiss, basically you roll the dice, where it has 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you have this space where basically if you choose this space and when you roll it, you can go to like any space you want once if you only land on the anywhere space. And technically you have the mask itself, so whenever you land on this space where you land on anywhere, you actually have the opportunity to wear the mask himself, because we all wear masks, metaphorically speaking. Somebody stop me!
Thank you! You love me! You really love me!
The whole point when you decide to play the game, like for instance, if you're playing as the red version of Stanley and eventually you decide to go to this space, if you realize that this is your coin, if it's the red one, then you definitely would take it for yourself just to keep it into the apartment. And then the next thing you know, if you don't have a coin that doesn't have your color, because it's supposed to represent each color that you're supposed to keep, and if it's not the yellow one that belongs to the red one, you eventually don't collect the coin and then you just move on with the game as long as you roll the dice. And if you do have money, you decide to retrieve it to the Edge City Bank, because obviously you need to have that sweet moolah and that sweet cash and actually get the chance to return it. And then technically, once when you complete the game, if you got all your tokens and your coins all at once, basically when you're done wearing the mask, you get to throw it out into the river, and then boom, voila, it's like the ending of the movie where he gives up the mask, and then eventually boom, that's how eventually wins the game. So overall, I really love the decorations. Like, I really dig it, where technically you have these 4 stand-in cutouts, which they weren't easy to hold, and I like the fact that it pays homage to the original film and actually like built the city of Edge City in the style of this one specific board game. So I really like, obviously if you guys are not interested, that's fine. If you're into the digital video games, that's cool, but I strongly recommend, like, if you enjoy the original film as much as I do, the best place to buy is definitely like on eBay, and technically it's only up for, as you see, like 1, 2, 3, 4 players in one, where eventually, like, once when you actually get to play the game with each other, it's a lot more fun. So I'm just gonna get the idea, like, collect as many coins as you can. If it belongs belongs to your color, you collect it back into your apartment, and if you have any money, make sure you get to return it to Ed City Bank, and whichever like dice lands on this space, you can go to any space you want, and depending which is your color, it belongs to you, and then voila, you eventually just throw the mask back to the river, and then you can live life being a normal human being. Also, The Mask isn't the only board game I own. I own plenty of others. If you want me to review any of them or unbox them, let me know down below in the comments. Like, I know for this one that made my channel popular in the first place. Well, not popular, but it made my channel grow. Sonic the Hedgehog, but it's Monopoly Edition, where you can play as Sonic, Tails, Amy, and Knuckles, where it's a love letter to all Monopoly gamers, but also for anyone who's in love with the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. I can make a video about that if you guys want me to. Or The Game of Life. It's a classic board game that is definitely like one of the best, where you can eventually have the option to choose your career, or college, or eventually get married, or get rich, or you eventually might get broke, or retire at a retirement place. So that's another one that I own. I even own Blockbuster, where it's literally shaped like a VHS, and it's a card game where you have to, it's more of a guessing type of game for any movie. You can quote it, you could say with one word, or you could just perform it or reenact it. It's in a way where it's another edition that's, I feel like it's good for my board game collection. So if you guys want me to review any of these three ones, let me know down in the comments, but also I might get a new one that could be related to Batman Forever, which is made by the same people who made this board game. But as for this board game, I'm gonna rank down my final thoughts. So, this board game in conclusion, I really enjoyed it, and it's definitely a huge love letter to me for who enjoys this movie so much. My only criticisms with it is the paper cutouts are a little bit hard to connect the buildings. Make sure you don't break them, because obviously this is made in 1994. You won't see this at your local Walmarts or Targets or Amazons or eBays where you can find it, but I strongly recommend buying this on eBay if you are interested. But at the end of the day, I just did this because it's the 27th anniversary of one of my favorite movies of all time, starred by my favorite movie actor of all time as well, and I just feel like it'll be nothing but just let the good times roll. So if you want me to review for more future board games, let me know down in the comments, and that's it for today's video. So if you enjoyed this video, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll definitely see you guys in the next video, whatever that is. Take care now, bye bye then. Somebody stop me! Ha ha ha!